What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another segment of the Gambling Lab brought to you by Bogey Proof. It is Tour Championship Week, playoff finale week, whatever you want to call it, at East Lake down in Atlanta, Georgia. The Tour season is coming to an end, and you got the full squad here of the Gambling Lab to talk about it and give you guys our picks and lineups, whatever you need for this week down at East Lake. As we usually do, let's start with TJ, give a quick little weather report before we dive into who we like this week.
Yeah, so very easy for the weather report this week. 86 degrees, hardly any wind. Um, yeah, far away. It's gonna be. I mean, it's Atlanta, so hot Atlanta. That's why we're wearing the Magic City sweatshirt tonight. It's always hot down there, pretty humid. So far away, hit them far.
Hot and humid, baby. You're gonna see some low scores again if that's gonna be the
Yep.
case.
Yeah, a
Uh,
lot of guys at the top of that leaderboard don't have any issue hitting it far, so we'll see a lot of that for sure. For sure. But what are we thinking first off? Who we liking early? I mean, interesting format, right? We got, the strokes breakdown always makes things interesting, but I think I'm like on and off with if I like it or not. I mean, Cantley's played so good that obviously he deserves something, some sort of advantage, but it's like you get paid out every tournament. So it's like, should it be any different? Should it not be any different? I don't really know. That could be an hour long, just discussion on its own. But the format is what the format is. And, how it is right now, we got plenty of guys in striking distance. So plenty of good options. I'm a full fade Patrick Cantley this week. I'm going to start off with that. But what do you guys like?
yeah, I'm with you on the fade Cantlay, just to start that conversation off, because I just think you're just in a weird spot mentally when you start at 10 under par and have a lead before you even make a swing, right? Like it's just
Right.
I think it's a weird headspace to be in to start a week, especially with how good everybody is around him and everything. It's not like he's going to have time to, figure it out for 12, 13 holes and kind of scrape it around. Like, if the conditions are going to be what they seem like they're going to be based on the weather, like hot, humid, not a lot of wind, they're going to be firing at these pins out there, making a ton of birdies. And like, you can't go neutral for 12 holes. Then all of a sudden, your 2 shot lead goes away. You're trailing. Now you're all fucked up mentally. So,
Mhm.
I think it's just and I mean, coming off a win in general is hard. Never mind coming off a win and then having this extra nuance to deal with. So I'm big fade Cantlay as well.
Yeah, but is he robotic though? Because like after all those playoff holes and the way he just kept his composure, like is he a robot? Like, is he
The
gonna go out
God.
there and do the same thing
Oh yeah, I mean
again?
he's
Yeah.
definitely a lunatic, but
Yeah.
he also
And we
made like 300 feet. Like he had like literally the best putting week in a full tournament in the
That
history of the PGA Tour last week. So I mean,
can't happen.
sorry, the
Not gonna
history
happen.
of strokes gained, right? Like he was 14 strokes gained on the field by the end of the week and putting, like blew every record away in putting since that stat's been kept since like 2003, whatever the hell that started. So, putting makes up for a lot of other issues. So it's like you can't expect to roll it like that to that extreme, that like back to back weeks.
He didn't have that many other issues, though. That was the thing. I mean, he did put on a clinic. Tee to green was still fabulous. Short game was fabulous. I mean, he just played fabulous overall, obviously, which is why he won the fucking thing.
Yeah,
But, like,
yeah.
I mean, it is, to TJ's point, I mean, it is, this is a kind of course for same deal. We're probably looking at, anywhere. I think I read the range, probably somewhere anywhere from 12 to 20 under par. And with them starting as high numbers as they are, I mean, we're probably looking somewhere in that 20 range, right? I mean, these FedEx events, they're not making these FedEx events, and we saw it Tour Championship with Tiger and everything a couple years ago, and how amazing that was. Like, they're not making these FedEx events like impossible Shinnecock like courses. They're making them like, hey, we're here. Let's make some birdies and let's cap off the season a little bit. And whatever, I'm looking at, some guys with some experience on this stage too. This is top 30, right? So it's just 30 guys, and not everybody is a massive name in this field. Like a guy like Eric Van Rooyen, who's been kind of a stud throughout this whole playoffs. And you look at guys like that. This is a big money week. This is a huge, huge money week, right? So I kind of love that it's kind of more money central this week opposed to like winning central. If you're a Daniel Berger, you're not winning this tournament because you're 9 strokes back already, and that's just, I mean, maybe you are, but that's just a huge hurdle to leap. But if you make a little push, Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday, that's a big check coming your way. So that adds a whole different element to this week.
There's a whole other element too, right? Think about Ryder Cup. One guy that sticks out to me, who hasn't made it yet, Sergio Garcia, guy who's looking to get in there, right? He's on the European side. I fair to assume Spain, yeah. So he certainly has to perform, and he actually did pretty well last week to make this.
It's a good point.
And, hey, you got to keep
Harris
playing
English.
well to get to the Ryder Cup. So this is more than just making money.
Harris English, same deal.
There's
right?
a handful of guys.
Same
There's
deal.
a handful of guys, whether it's American or European, doing the same thing. Scheffler, like guys like that are bubble right now. If they're going to get in, it's going to be on a pick. Like they come out here and go from starting as far back as some of these guys are. They get into the top 10 by Sunday. They're probably honestly beating the guy for 72 holes that ends up winning. Due to the weird start situation we got going on here. But like things like that, and form going into the Ryder Cup will definitely. It's another. Not that they need anything more to play for this week because it's for $15 million or whatever. Like it's just a little extra for, especially a guy like Sergio, who money, as much as it incentivizes people, always like
not for him though.
For 25 years, money's not really a thing for him anymore. He's 100% focused on like, let me, leave no doubt in this that Padraig Harrington's going to pick me because I'm showing such good form, all my experience, et cetera, et cetera. So like, there's guys like that, like you said, they're starting 10 back. They're probably not realistically in their heads thinking they're going to win this, but they're out there trying to have a really he can show some form going into the Ryder Cup. And Berger is one of those guys as well, right? He's not in,
no.
There's a
and he probably should be. Harris, Berger, same deal, right? I mean, Harris English has had a phenomenal year overall. I mean, he's a couple-time winner on the tour. I mean, granted, they were smaller-ish tournaments for him, both of those, I believe, Sony Open, and then obviously the Travelers. What a shit show that was. But, couple-time winner on the tour, been playing really good, bunch of top threes. Wasn't he top 3 U.S. Open, too? So, having a really good season overall. So I'm looking for – I want to attack guys with some external motivation a little bit, right? Whereas money's not the main focus. A guy like Rory, money's not the main focus. Harris, maybe not as well, because if they're not playing for that, that title, so to speak, we got to dig for something else. So trying to find some extra motivation, which is why I'm big on Bryson this week. He hasn't had a lot of success at Eastlake, but he's also never played this good at golf in his entire career. Obviously playing fantastic, a bunch of great tournaments so far, even to end the year. So I'm big on Bryson this week. There's no doubt about it. We'll see. We'll see what he can do. He really wants to stamp himself in, and wants to, prove to a lot of people that he deserves to be, a high pick on that Ryder Cup team too. So that's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, and the fans can't call him Brooksy anymore, else they get thrown out. So he's got less pressure this week.
Once again, that's a whole other episode, because that's the biggest joke of anything I've ever seen. But
he can't get out there, so he's gonna shoot well. Right? I can agree with you on that.
Yeah. All right, Paulie, bring us back on track here. Who do you like this week? Let's
stop
doing a hypothetical. Let's not even to win, just pick 2-3 guys you think are gonna have a good week out there. Whether it's
I do think Berger's going to have a good week. I know we were just talking about him a lot, but he's in a spot where he has to go out and make a lot of birdies. And if there's really a guy on tour that will go out and make a lot of birdies when he has to, I feel like it's Berger. Like, he can go, so low, so fast. And then, I mean, it can also go the other way. But, I feel like, he's just going to play well this week. Like, he's been playing decently, and I it's getting to a point, I think, this year, and it is the last term of the year, where like everything's got to click for him at one point. And again, with the Ryder Cup implications, everything like that, where he's been on the team before, and he obviously wants to get back there.
Absolutely.
I think
that's the biggest thing for him. External motivation, like we said.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're looking DraftKings too, sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but Berger on DraftKings is like 5,600, and if you are looking DraftKings, it's kind of a different format, because the big name players, because they're already high up on the board already, are way more expensive, and Berger's down at the bottom of that list, so he's super cheap, right? Daniel Berger will be 30% owned minimum in every contest you play this week. That is a given. And
Yeah.
so it's gonna be he's gonna be a really interesting dynamic this week for sure of kind of what he's looking to do. I'm pretty curious to kind of what you're gonna see from him. But for me overall, I mean, I said Bryson already, but my main guy is I think it's just gonna be Tony. I mean, literally, like Tony's the kind of guy, man, where it doesn't really seem like he doesn't really care about anyone else, which is why I love him. It's just a matter of like if he can just battle his own demons and close it out, himself. You saw, right? I mean, in that playoff against Cam Smith in Northern Trust, I mean, he just stepped up like it was just another hole back in Utah in that playoff hole and just striped it right down the middle and played that hole like it was nothing. And that 18th hole that week was playing incredibly challenging into the wind. Like Tony Finau, and it was super wet, so the ball's not rolling. I mean, Tony's hitting it 295 out there carrying, he's got to hit 6-iron into this flag and played really, really good. So I'm just going to keep riding Tony. We buck him till she kicks you, and Tony's going to be the guy. Tony, Bryce, and Rory, baby. Those are my triples this week.
When you guys look at the leaderboard, we can already call it a leaderboard. Is there a certain number that you're looking at where you're like, I don't see anybody winning, being this far back from the leader? Like I'm looking right now, like I see Cam Smith at 5 under, John Rahm 6 under. I mean, realistically, do we think anybody at the 4 under range is going to get up there? I mean, 3 under, I don't know. I mean, DJ kind of catches my eye a little bit at 3 under, but I think when you start
Louis?
at 3 under, you're just too far out.
Yeah, it's one of those, and shout out no laying up guys, like how far back is too far back before the week even starts, which is interesting. But I think my cut's at 3 under. I don't think as good as a week as DJ, Louis, Sungjae, Morikawa, any of those guys can have. I just don't see, especially when I see guys like Rahm, DeChambeau, Finau, those are the guys that it's not like they're no names at the top, right? Like that'd be a different story if they're chasing a guy that hasn't been there before. Like John Rahm's not going to give up 4 shots just based on, he's not going to spot him 4. He's getting 3. It's just I I don't see everybody in front of the group at 3 falling behind the group at 3, no matter how good they play. Like I'm sure they climb up there and they get in the, like you guys are saying, like DJ, Louis, Sungjae, Morikawa, even like Brooks and Rory and those guys at 2. I'm sure they work the way up the leaderboard. They have good weeks. Of course, kind of, fits them being, bombers and whatever else. But I just think they're spotting too many. Like John Rahm does not need shots given to him. And you're essentially
No. Please don't. Please don't give him shots.
and you're
Please.
essentially saying Sungjae not only has to beat John Rahm this week, he's got to beat him by 4. I don't think so. Like
Yeah, no
that's
way.
really what it comes down to for me. It's like same with Bryson. I know he's a fucking character, and there's a lot to talk about with him, whether it's golf or non-golf related. But at the end of the day, you make if it's soft out there at all, it's an issue for the field when he's in there. I mean, you saw it on display last week. I know we gave Cantlay a lot of credit for putting his ass off and just 27 under is no joke. You don't do that by accident. He played super solid all around. Bryson played so good that he had to putt like an asshole down the stretch to not win that tournament.
He had no business losing that tournament too, and Cantlay played fantastic, and he just shouldn't have won. Exactly. He really just shouldn't. I mean, bottom line, he just shouldn't have won.
I mean, you can always go back. There's always shots you want to get back, but when it comes to like what what Bryson was doing, like Bryson missed like 5 inside 10 feet just in like the back 9, the playoff, and then the one he missed for 59 on Saturday or Friday, whatever day that was. So it's like there's always a shot you can want to take back, right? That's what golf is. It's just no matter how good you play, there's always a couple you want to get back. But like when you look at how many Cantlay made and how many Bryson missed, like Bryson should, if he putted like Cantlay, should shoot 33 under. Like it's just a different world. And I think it's just like that's why he did what he did to his body to change his game, because like 27 under and he really threw it away. Like it's crazy how really if he clicks right, I think he gets a lot more closer to that 60 number that he shot on Friday or Saturday, whatever day that was, than the 68, 66, 67 he shot the 3 other days. I just think it's crazy though. I just think I can't see guys like him and even Finau too, right? Like you mentioned, like can't see the people that are down at 3 under, 2 under beating those guys by 5, 6. I just can't see it happening.
You know who I kind of like to make a run, kind of in the middle there. TJ was mentioning those 200-300 guys. A guy who I've kind of been paying attention to for a while, a guy I've always liked, and a guy who crushes Donald Ross courses. I was reading a little bit about this. Is the boy Jason Kokrak. Boy hits it really, really good. It was fantastic tee to green last week, like he always is. And that's a huge, huge thing at this course, at least of what I've been reading. So I like Kokrak kind of as a more value-y side, kind of toward the bottom there. Kokrak's the guy I'm looking at this week, along with Tony, Rory, Bryson, Justin is another one in there for sure. DJ is kind of a hard one, man. I don't really know where he's at. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know his form. Like I said, when his form is off, man, he's just not making putts. He's not as sharp. And, right now there are just a lot of other guys who seem a lot sharper. And, that's what you need. You need sharp as a butcher's knife coming into this tournament. So, and I don't think DJ is.
What DJ does, though, is it's either you're on the DJ train or you're off the DJ train, right? And the second you are off the train, he burns you.
Yep.
And he hits that just freakish stride, similar to what Rahm's kind of on right now. That's why it's hard for me to stray away from Rahm. But when you look at DJ, right, kind of for me, I'm thinking, okay, what is that number going to be? Can he catch 7 strokes in 4 days, right? If he catches lightning in a bottle, which we've seen,
if there's anybody that can do it, it's probably him.
It's probably
him.
What did he shoot his last round? Because I kind of look at that too, right? What these guys shot last round or last 2 rounds of BMW, right? You could have fucking
65, 66. I mean, he finished T6. He is.
He did play better at the end. There. So
Yeah,
this is where I got. That's why I've been looking at him and just staring at him at the eyes.
Deposit?
Dustin.
Yeah,
I mean, deposit.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's really hard when you get these, that next level group of guys. It's really hard to pick their weeks because it's like, that all it takes is the littlest of thing, and then they get a little bit of confidence, a little momentum going, and then like watch the hell out. DJ, Rory, Rahm, JT, like even Spieth this year. Like those are the type of guys that if they get a little bit of momentum going, like just get out of the way. Like they're gonna come and fucking get going. But another guy that I want to mention, I don't know how serious of a threat he really is, but like a guy like Sam Burns, and I think he's got like a chip on his shoulder this year because he came out of the gates firing. Won early. He probably should have won a couple times because he was like top 3 like 3 weeks in a row. Only won one of those. Then he got hurt. He kind of like fell asleep during the majors because he got hurt right before the PGA, and then came back and played super, super solid the last 2 months or so, 3 months. And he's like 14th or 15th in Ryder Cup standings. Like, we're only picking 12 guys. So, like, he's probably a guy that's similar to what we were talking about earlier for people like Sergio or Scheffler or whatever. He's also in that group of, like, hey, like, I want to be on that fucking team. Like, I had an awesome year. I got, unfortunate injury that took me really out of commission for 3 months or so, and an important 3 months with a couple majors in there, where he wasn't 100%. And obviously, you're not going to play well if you're not 100%. But I just feel like that's a guy that might have a little extra chip on his shoulder that people don't realize. And he's at 4 under. He's not all the way down at 3 or 2. So it's like, I don't think he's in, but I think he's a guy like Berger, right? They are playing for a lot this week.
Tee to green beast, dude. Sam Burns, we've been talking about him all year. I mean, he's a beast. He's absolutely a beast. He's done some amazing things. He hits the ball great, and it's tee to green all day on this course. And that's, that is certainly his specialty. And, I like him right there in the middle. He's got an interesting price there on DraftKings. It's kind of tough. He's right on the 85 number, which is kind of hard because, of guys like you can drop down and look at a guy like Louis, who's at like 78, 7,600 this week. So it's like an interesting little kind of tidbit there. You got Cam Smith sitting at 10K this week or 10-1. There's a lot of interesting guys, even Answers up there too. These guys are having quiet, really good years, and a couple of these guys are going to shit the bed, and it's just a matter of dodging who that is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love Burns. We've been talking about Burns for a long time. We've been mentioning him in a lot of episodes, and
He
He
was
just continued to ball out.
Yeah, he was at one point. He was leading the entire tour in birdies made. So that was right before PGA, and then he kind of subsided a little bit. But I mean, anytime you're playing a few months on this tour, I mean, he was 6 months in a row where he was leading. I mean, it's no slouch. Like, there's some good golfers that are playing here. So
Yeah.
being good and being at the top is something to definitely take note. And getting hurt, coming back. I mean, yeah, I think he's playing pissed off a little bit. Wants to be there. Feels like he should be there, and just hasn't gotten the credit for it.
And I think, go ahead, Fontaine. Go ahead.
I was going to say our overall underlying theme, no matter what we talk about, motivated athletes. Like these guys, this is not a hobby, as Kevin Kisner would say. Like, this is their full-time fucking job. And if they get in the right headspace where it's them against the world, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, watch out. And I think that's what we have for a good amount of guys in the field this week. That's why some of the guys like a Cam Smith, like a Louis, like even Abe Answer, it's like they're obviously playing for the FedEx Cup, but they don't have that extra Ryder Cup aspect. Excuse me, because they're President's Cup guys. Where it's like it's one less thing that they have light in their fire that other guys have light in theirs. So it'll be interesting. I love championship. Eastlake always provides. It always
the best.
those last 3-4 holes or whatever it may be are super super solid. Like, you got the Rory hole out on 16 or 17, whatever that was, when the year he won the FedEx Cup after he holes out for Eagle. You got obviously Tiger's drama coming down 18.
Incredible.
That 18th hole always provides a little bit of action because it's that gettable par 5 if you hit it in the fairway, and nowhere to really lay up. So if you don't hit it in the fairway, you got to shoot. It's just there's that par 3 over water too. Like, just really really good golf course. It's really fun to watch as long as you get a lot of guys in the
great course.
Stretch. So,
and I think you got to be careful too, because the money thing only goes so far too. Because now that I'm almost kind of going back on what I said earlier. Because I looked at the list, and what does 30th make? Like 500,000. Yeah. So it's like, realistically, right. Abe Answers had a really good year, made a ton of money, and if he just doesn't have it, he just won't have it, and there's not that extra, to go get a Ryder Cup spot, right? So. Guys like a Harris English isn't just thinking about, oh, if I come in 18th, I'll win 900,000, which is pretty dope. But if he's got to go get a spot, right? Yeah. And I'm looking at a couple of guys, and we just talked about Burns, and that brings me to easily my number one fade of the week is Colin Morikawa. I think he's battling an injury. He's battling something's going on with his back. His form has been horrible, and I just don't think he's 100% at all. So. He's going to be a full fade for me as well this week, going along with Cantley probably. We're going to full fade them both. I can't wait till Cantley goes off and wins the whole tournament, but we're going to fade him totally. As Morikawa is scaring me a little bit. I mean, Colin's got a spot in that Ryder Cup team, right? Am I out of my mind? So I mean, right. So you figure that he, I don't know where he's at. He's definitely battling something. I was reading about he's got a nagging back thing, which, if he tweaks a little bit, all he knows is he's just got to complete 4 rounds and he's getting paid. So, that's where, you got to find those guys who are going to dig a little deeper,
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. And he, like you were getting at too, he's literally already locked up Ryder Cup. If he's hurting, go through the motions, don't do anything crazy, and then, get home and rest for the whatever 2.5, 3 weeks, whatever it is, but 2 weeks, I think, before they go out to Whistling Straits or whatever. So I agree. I think he's one of those guys that he doesn't have much to prove. He's got, major and whatever. I don't think the money's an issue for him. He's 20 whatever years old. He's already made $8 million in about a year. So I don't think money's a real thing for him right now either, as much as some of the other guys make. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking forward.
He's got plenty of tour championships to come too, so he'll be in this tournament for a long time to come. So it's nothing really to worry about there.
Yeah, not his last crack at it, that's for sure.
Man.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well,
fun week ahead, boys. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Love a little Labor Day weekend golf. Love watching that. Love East Lake. Gonna be hot and humid out there.
Yeah.
Probably around here. Oh, looks a little cooler around here.
Ball's gonna be flying out there, bro. Ball. Yeah. All I remember from Tigers is that the ball was flying. I mean, he was pumping the ball in 2019. So Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot
John
of
Rahm
fun.
needs to bring like 6 shirts.
John Rahm is
Oh.
gonna go off again, dude. I mean, he's gonna go off. I had to put a team with him, TJ. You got it every
I'm
week.
leading one team and I have John Rahm
He's
on
the
it.
Russell Westbrook of the PGA, and he just needs to be there. He's just better.
Dude,
He just is.
I have one take on John Rahm that I want to get out now before he goes and wins like 3 more times in the next 6 months. But if he doesn't start winning, like as crazy as this sounds, like if he doesn't start winning and like winning a major or like I know he won the U.S. Open, but like winning more when he's this much better than everybody else, like you have to take advantage of your 6 month stretches when you're just by far and away the best player in the world. And unless he wins this week, or I mean, there's really nothing else until they go to Hawaii, right? So he
Right.
needs to hang on, and like otherwise, all he's gonna get is one win out of this next level stretch of golf. Where if you look back, right, like guys like even DJ, right? Think about where DJ was at this time last year versus where he is right now. Like it goes away just as quick as it comes. And like
Yep.
you take advantage of it and close the door and win golf tournaments when you're at this form. And like not that I doubt John Rahm's abilities to win, but like he could look back at this stretch and be like, how did I not win more than one golf tournament? He's got what 15 top tens this year, like and to only have one win, I know it's a major, so it's an important one, but like, and not to compare him to Tiger because that's kind of unfair of like how good Tiger was at winning when he played. Like, but like Tiger when he had it going, like there wasn't a lot of like T7s for Tiger. Like it was either he won
No.
or he kind of played whatever and would finish, halfway down the leaderboard. It's like I'm not like John Rahm is by far and away the best player in the world right now, but he might look back at this and be like, wow, I didn't capitalize at Kiowa. I didn't capitalize at the Masters.
Top 5 in every major this year that he didn't win, right?
The Open. I didn't capitalize at. I mean, granted, he's got 1.5, right? He was going to win the Memorial, but like
Right.
he didn't rack up wins. I mean, I don't think he's worried about wins. I think for him, it's majors, right? That career trajectory he's on. But like, you got to rack up wins at some point. And it's like for him to kind of take this almost full year of golf and how much better he was than pretty much everybody else and only get one, it just seems like he wasted it is not the word, but he could have done a lot more damage and then buy himself a little bit more comfort when it kind of slips away. Like everybody, it's like ebbs and flows, right? It's golf. You don't stay this good forever. Like again, DJ last year at this time, we're like he's gonna win every major next year, like, and he sucked this year, I mean, for his standards. So it's like I just find it very weird, or not weird, but I just think it's very interesting to see the difference. And again, we're all kind of grew up on Tiger, so we're used to just when you're playing.
Yeah, winning is hard. Remember, we can't forget.
Hard. Especially when the competition's getting significantly better than when Tiger was there. Like, I mean,
and John top 5 in every single major this year is just absolutely absurd. I mean, like I just went back to his game log because once in a while you just have to, and it's just every tournament, man, every single one. His worst was the Byron Nelson, which I'm sure he was really prepared for. But besides that, it was literally top 10 in every single tournament he played this entire year, which is obscene.
But he only won once.
And the Memorial, which obviously was a joke. I mean, but he only won once. If you look at his game log, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous.
When DJ did that last year, he won what 3 times last year, and then he won the Masters. That was in November. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year in November, but he won the Masters. You look back at it, when Jordan Spieth had his year, he won 5 times. When Jason Day had his year, he won 5 times. Like for him to only get one, I think is a little bit interesting. I mean,
to be a big week for him, and I think he'll go get this one. I mean, honestly, the Tour Championship's a big deal to these guys, right? Yeah. I mean, Rory, you guys saw Rory's emotion that year when he did that was the most electric performance I've seen in a long time. That hole out and everything. I mean, you saw how much he cared. These guys care about this. This is a big deal because this is like you're beating the best. You are. Tiger took it really seriously. Tiger doesn't tweet or Instagram post, highlight tapes too often, and we just got one, and it was incredible.
And he
You
has
know?
for every single tournament that's ever been played too. If he wants
Right,
to go.
right. Anytime you could dig up plenty of highlight tapes for Tiger Woods, and you don't get them very often on social media. And we got a tour championship highlight tape. And like they take this seriously. It's a big deal. This is a big deal. So Johnny's got to go get this one. He's gotta go get it.
If he does. I hope he
No,
does.
I wouldn't either. I hope he does too. Honestly.
I think the only thing that stops him is COVID. It's the only thing I think that stops
Yeah,
him.
literally.
3 times
Literally.
charm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That would sum
All
up
right,
the
gents.
PJ Tour season perfectly.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be good. All right, boys. Always a pleasure. Glad to be back. We will be back next week to recap the Tour Championship, playoffs, all that fun stuff. Outside of that, cheers, boys.
All right, boys.
Talk to you later.